AskReddit by SM0K999. What terrifying event is happening in the world right now that most people are ignoring? The birds are disappearing. Most likely because the bugs are, too. My yard is overgrown with trumpet vine, thistles, wild raspberries and a bunch of wildflowers. I spray nothing, just go out and pull out the invasive shit when I see it. I've given up on the trumpet vine. I have many birds, bugs and rabbits. I leave them the fuck alone except to keep some mason bee houses and maintain a bird bath for the birds. It's not enough but I'm trying. My neighbors probably think they don't give a shit about my yard, and honestly, they're not completely wrong. I care about my yard, I just don't give a fuck if it's perfectly manicured. I'd rather make sure some suburban wildlife gets a break. The birds made 3 nests on my property this year. That's more than I've ever had. I'm so excited for next year. Here in the UK, water companies have been dumping tons and tons of sewage into our river systems and into the sea, making some beaches close. It is truly disgusting, and the whole water industry is in about £60 billion of debt and could collapse. Fuck these companies and corporations. I'm sick and tired of things like recycling being at a consumer level when it should be at a corporate governance level and more globally enforced at the production level rather than us failing to do anything about it at a consumer level. Edit. Wow, thank you for the award, kind internet friend. This is my first award. I'm verklempt. The seals dying of avian flu in Chile. And cats in Poland. Cats dying of bird flu in Poland. Mammal to mammal transmission confirmed. Wow, can you send the source? I didn't know that it can transfer between cats. My country is on fire. It was also on fire a month ago but then it stopped for a few weeks. I live on the shores of Lake Michigan. The air is horrible. Visibility is minimal, and I'm not even in the thick of the fires. I've been so worried about our Canadian friends for what seems like way too long now. Keep safe. Sweet baby Jesus, I should not have read this thread. Babe, new doom scrolling thread has dropped. Insect numbers are absolutely plummeting. There is about a 2.5% loss in terms of mass per year. Without insects the food chain will collapse. The effects of this are already starting to be seen. As a child I remember chasing butterflies all over my grandparents' yard. Now I get excited if I see one a week. Ocean currents slowing. May I ask why they are slowing down? Is that what you mean? I grew up in front of the ocean in Peru and we all have noticed some changes in current patterns, so I'm really curious. Thanks. You know, shit started to go downhill a little after we demoted Pluto. This is the only comment here that made me smile, and I feel like there's some deep meaning about humanity thriving in adversity in your comment, or some BS. TBH, social media gave stupidity so much power that we are unable to listen or hear what scientists think about a thing. Basically, ignorance has never been so self-confident, and that makes me sad for this and every generation that is coming. Bacterial resistance. Due to the overuse of antibiotics and bacterial evolution, bacteria are able to develop itself and change its DNA and cellular structure to become immune to antibiotics. Now there are certain infections which can't be treated with the same antibiotics that were effective 10-20 years ago. In the near future we may return to pre-antibiotic age in which simple lung or urinary infections can kill us simply because we don't have effective antibiotics. It's pretty clear we're just going to use evolutionary algorithms to engineer new antibiotics. As fast as bacteria is advancing, our understanding of biological systems is far exceeding. I'm not that worried about it, considering that the last 30 years of science have already resulted in xenobots. https://www.cnn.com/2021/11/29/Americas xenobot-self-replicating-robots-scn/index.html close bracket. Evidently the bees are dying out, and once they do we're all fucked. Not a bee expert, maybe someone who can explain further. Edit, article, https://www.vox.com/down-to-dash-earth/2023/1/honey-bees-native-bees-decline close bracket explaining why honeybees aren't in danger, but other bees are. Also, I originally did look down the comments, but missed one of the top comments about source equals share and amp, UTM medium equals IOSAP and amp, UTM name equals iasks and amp, UTM content equals 1 and amp, UTM term equals 1 and amp, context equals 3, in general. Thanks for the replies and good information. Hope the links help. Bees are making a bit of a comeback, maybe. It's not out of the woods, but there are some promising signs. The massive destruction of our coral reefs. Well, the Great Barrier Reef is actually growing back at its best rates in a long time. Now if dumbass tourists would stop standing on coral, I'm sure that would help. Depression has become an epidemic disease. The WHO, World Health Organization, declared depression as a global health emergency. George Carlin said it best, the planet will shake us off like a bad case of the fleas. A surface nuisance. Don't forget the best part of that tirade. The planet will be fine. The people are fucked. Slavery in countries supported by companies and governments. Human rights violation in Pakistan. Over 10,000 people arrested being kept in death cells while the temperatures exceed 40 degrees Celsius. All because they support a political party. 80% of Pakistan supports that political party. On top of that, the current regime has violated many laws including elections with 90 days, exceeding caretaker government to more than 90 days. Moreover, some leaders of the party in hiding, so they raid their houses, harass the women, break stuff, steal cars, yes, police stealing, and the world doesn't care. Fireflies numbers are drastically decreasing. This post makes me realize we're really fucked. I knew it was a bad idea to click. Rampant corruption pretty much everywhere. Slave mining in Congo. Taiwan could get bad. Sex trafficking at all-time high in US and was the highest world. Slavery at all-time high in the world. Shocked that nobody talks about all of the insider trading in Congress from both sides. Least terrifying, I know the problem I'm finding is this information used to be easy to find. Now when I Google search, the same things I did years ago are not the same results. It is wild to me how blatant the insider trading is from prominent Congress people on both sides. The right likes to dig on Pelosi for it, and she's definitely suspicious, but she might not even be top 5 in suspicious earnings. It is complete and obvious dog shit that Congress people can make trades while in office. I'm pretty pro markets, but it's just hog shit to see. I'm not entirely educated on this, but here it is. Supposedly 7,000 Mexican children went missing on our side of the US border over the last 10 years or so. If anyone is more knowledgeable about this, I'd love to know more. Well, there was that article that came out recently about using immigrant children as child labor in the continental US in varying agricultural sectors. I'm going to go with human trafficking here. It feels like I'm smoking a pack of cigarettes a day just going outside because of wildfires in another country. Really goes to show that environmental problems don't care about borders. Cobalt mining. Thousands and thousands of children are being sent to mine for cobalt, a precious metal used to power iPhones and Tesla cars, for $1 a day. There are people crowded together with no equipment besides a hammer, giving us, in our first world countries, the latest Apple phone that we so desperately need. But the media refuses to report this because God knows what would happen if we stop using Tesla cars. Look, there's nothing wrong with preparing for a global crisis, but the problem is that there's a crisis going on right now that everyone chooses to ignore. Deleted. I think this right here is so huge and people keep kinda glossing over it. Insect apocalypse. You ever read the book Sixth Extinction by Elizabeth Colbert? What's the TLDR? Never heard of it. Canada's forests have been on fire for a while now and it's making the air quality in the Midwest pretty spicy. And Northeast. The weather app has been saying just smoke for my area. Environmental reporter here. I write about many of these things. Avian flu, coral reefs, fires. It's frustrating because so often these stories get lost in the noise. From my experience, people have a very small appetite for negative, environmental news, especially if they feel that they can't do anything about it and fill up first on other things like politics. Well, I feel like I can't do anything. What can I do? Because it does get to me. I spend nights crying about it. When I try to spread the word, people just don't want to hear it. One thing I haven't seen anyone mention is the growing mold problem. As the globe continues to get warmer and warmer, scientists say that there's a high chance that mold will adapt to these higher temperatures. Once that happens, it also means that it will be able to survive within our own bodies. Needless to say, we're all sorts of fucked when that happens. The mass media is functionally a propaganda machine. Always has been. My dog thinks it is afternoon thunderstorms. Avian flu virus mutated in Poland. Now it can infect cats and the mortality rate is close to 90%. It even infects cats that never leave houses. The epidemic will probably spread to whole Europe, because birds are the vector. It is possible that it can mutate to allow transmission from cat to cat and then from cat to human, possibly even from human to human. Mortality rate in humans is 50%. COVID is like 0.5% DART. If it mutates, there will likely be a pandemic that will kill probably at least 1/4 of the world's population. Did you know that the more deadly a virus is, the less pandemic potential it has? Mining companies from Canada are invading, destroying the biodiversity in Central America. Quantum mining, for example, in Panama. You can check the pics on Google. It's very sad as the rainforest is quite diverse in that country. All because of gold and other metals, but mostly gold. Funny how nature is protected in Canada, yet these companies exploit third world countries. Scumbags. They poisoned waters with cyanide for cheaper operations in Goose Mountains in Turkey and are acting like they are the victims because people don't like being stripped of their forests. Can someone make a version of this post but happy, please? Thank you. Our uplifting news. That we are exactly on target for societal collapse. In 1972, MIT predicts that by 2040 this would all collapse. We have had 51 years to address this issue, and as of today we have dealt with 0 of the things we have been told needed to be addressed. Personally, I think the faster it happens, the faster the Earth can start healing. We wasted this whole planet and all the billionaires can do is talk about going to colonize a new world. More people shoulder watched Star Trek. They covered all this stuff in the 70s, too. Microplastics in the food supply. It's getting into our brains. Megacorp buying up as much farmland and housing in the US as humanly possible. Imagine the leverage they will have over the whole market. Iran killing its population because the people don't want to live in a religious leaders and thought-led country anymore. Wildfires in May in Canada. And June. And going into July now. Happy fucking Canada Day. Climatologists have started giving up on there being a chance that we fix the climate crisis. Some have basically said we're fucked, do whatever you want, I don't care anymore. Yup, sad but true. David Attenborough said we're fucked, so that's enough evidence for me. I have to go downstairs to make sure the door is locked, but it's dark and scary. Well, make sure you don't turn on any lights, and if the door is open a bit, just look puzzled and then shut and lock it. Permafrost is melting in Siberia. For your information, this means lots of greenhouse gases will be liberated, and also a lot of viruses and other microorganisms that are yet to be seen. Climate change. At 10 I was told we had 100 years till abnormal weather trends. Now I'm in my 30s and we have 40 degrees C summers mixed with rising tides. Special shout out to Big Oil for greenwashing stats for the last 60 years. There's a bird flu strain, H5N1, that has been quickly spreading to a wider variety of species. So far, it has infected few humans, and the ones it has infected are believed to have gotten it from exposure to sick animals, so no human-to-human transmission. But if this thing hits the right amount of mutations and achieves sustained human-to-human transmission, we could be in for another pandemic. The current case fatality rate is over 50% for people who've gotten sick. Currently, the CDC lists the virus as a low risk for humans due to the lack of human-to-human transmission. Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best. The CDC page on H5N1. https://www.cdc.gov/flu/avian-flu/summary.htm. Insect life was so loud that when you parked the car and got out it sounded as if you had suddenly tuned into a radio frequency from another planet. World hunger. Nearly every 10 seconds someone unfortunately dies of malnutrition. Hunger is a problem, but that's a bit of an unhelpful oversimplification. Old article but good explainer. https://www.bbc.com/news/magazine-2293569.amp. The extinction of species. My 6th grade granddaughter was giving me a rundown on what's being lost just in the Amazon and how it will affect us, and I wanted to cry. I hope all kids get age can make a difference, that it's not too late. The climate is slowly collapsing, and every time I hear a scientist about it they say it is happening even faster than they thought before. It really freaks me out. There is a colossal human tragedy coming our way, and all I see politicians do is making sure big oil is not losing their tax advantages. We are so fucked. Most of this whole thread is problems caused by or made exponentially worse by climate change. It's literally the biggest and scariest thing happening, and it feels like hardly anyone is paying attention. Russia has something called Satan number 2 and we're here. Sounds pretty bad. Would love some more detail though.